Right, I'm just putting all my tusks together. This is a two-piece as well. So I believe some of them went out without the red dot on. I'm checking information. I've got detailed files on this and I'm going through them having a look because what I'm being told is two. Is that what you heard, Jay? Two of them. I've heard two of them went. So I'm just verifying that. But I thought I'd seen more than two already. Anyway, checking facts. Simon's took the blame for the red dots. So, don't tell him this, but I think some of the red dots were put on before the bumpers and stuff, you know, the little squares. And I took some of them off because I didn't like the position of them. Or because it got dirty, or for whatever reason, I took some of them off. And maybe they didn't get put back on afterwards, they didn't get picked up. Keep that between us, right? Because Size took the blame on it. Let's go through a couple of the comments I've seen, just so we can clear it up. One of the things I've seen is the talk about the hand painted details, like the trident here and the back box. So what's happened here is, obviously it's a tie helmet. It starts off as a tie, so it's just a fully built tie helmet. This is already black. This is already black on the tie helmet. That's how they are already. When they've decided to paint them, at that point they could have masked this off, left it unpainted and it would have been black. Same with this. They didn't do that. Just spray bombed the whole thing grey. When it's grey, someone's looked at it and thought, that looks a bit now, doesn't it? Decision is made to paint this black again, and this, and the decision is also made, but they don't need to mask it all out and spray it. We'll paint it with a brush. Of course, the additional thing with that is, if they'd have masked this out and just left it in the natural black colour, they would have had to paint inside of there with a brush. Instead they didn't, they just painted to that. It's got the brush marks in it with purposely. We could have masked this out and sprayed it ourselves. Wouldn't have been right. It would have been on the road to idealisation. So there's brush marks in there, and there's brush marks in there, and it's quite tidy. They've painted that quite tidily. On the original ones, it is a bit more messy. But I think that might have been a step too far, because it just looks like a child's done it, in my opinion. Wow, nice and tight. Two piece. I like it. One thing we have had is also the paint detail. This one's fat, this one's thin. By design. Right, let me grab these. I have heard somebody talking about how it would have been nice if the tusks were a two-piece design, two pieces machined and then put together. This is a copy of the found part. This is obviously all measured off the original one, as absolute closely as we possibly could. That said, it probably is a found part, but it's not been identified. Some sort of pipe flange, probably. But they are two pieces, and the reason why we did them in two pieces is because one is pushed in slightly differently than the other one. Certainly on the helmet that we were hands-on with, so they're not the same length basically. I mean, you're talking fractions, but matters, doesn't it? Why purposely choose to do something wrong? There's going to be enough things on it, no matter what you do, they're not going to be quite the same. Why add to that by doing it wrong in the first place and doing it with your full knowledge that it's wrong? Oh no. I've seen something about like little dimples and stuff being visible in certain lighting, and some people saying, oh, it's it's in the vac forming. It's not. You look at, if you got your tie, have a look at your tie. It's on that production made master that we've got. We've not cleaned anything up. We've just used it straight for this. So they've always been there. One sec. There's a little bit of compression in these. So the two pieces, you've got to get them just right. There we go. Before they'll slide together. Yeah, all these little details are there on the tie, as is. Jay's got a tie in there. So I think probably the difference here is the stickers are placed in a different spot, so it's not as noticeable. But you can definitely see there's a bit up there. And they're all the same. That's the thing. Cheers, Jay. I've heard some people saying, oh, some have got them, some haven't. They're not. They're on all of them. Every single one is the same. I think in some photos that some people have posted, because of the lighting, i.e. from above, it could be from the side, could be wherever it is, there's some people in their photos you can see it more than other people, but it's all to do with the environment the photo was taken in. It's part of it. It's on the AT-ATs, it's on the ties, and it's on there because it's the exact same mould. So if you've got one that you think looks bumpy, then everybody's got that. It's not a defect to that particular one. They're all like that. Consistently bumpy. Just depends on your environment, maybe, if you're seeing it or not. Okay. Oh, hose. Let's talk about the hose. The hose is a good one. Put this in and I'll show you something. So the hose, don't know what the hose was used for, like its actual intended purpose in life when it was around in late 70s, but whatever it was didn't need to be made the way it was, and probably the machinery's long since been replaced, and this is kind of the modern equivalent of what you can get. Heard somebody saying maybe we could get some made, but I don't think it works like that. This stuff is like wrapped round and it overlaps. It's like precision made. And if you've got the machine that does it, then it's probably dead easy, but without the machinery, it's probably going to be an absolute nightmare. But it is made a very specific way, and it's not going to happen to get it, to be able to make it so that it's flexible hose like this. So here's the difference. Now I think this is pretty much what other makers are using, but hopefully you can see the difference. You can, I mean, it's not even, the original hose does kind of compress and pull out. You can see it will do it, but it's not. I mean, this is a lot more rigid than the actual stuff that they used, which is a little bit subtler. If people that were buying that and using that back in the day are still using it, they're probably using this, and it does the job fine, whatever it is, connecting liquids through it or cables through it, I don't know. But anyway, it's wrong. So we've got a choice. Do we have something that's made in a similar fashion, or do we have something that looks right? That's the choice. What would you choose? I chose what looks right, because it's a small piece, it doesn't need to bend. We've got the flex in it by having it modelled and then creating the flex how we wanted it. The other thing as well is this fits in that quite nicely, whereas this one, as you can see, is bigger and it doesn't fit in there as nicely. But you don't have to worry too much about that, because on the original one they kind of cut the back of this so they could squash it together, push it in. That's why the hose is fatter, and that's why this hose is probably the one that people buy. Well, not, we've got a grey one of these as well, but this hose is probably the one people use because it fits in the BOC thing quite nicely. However, on the original it's fatter and it's cut and then it's kind of crushed in itself and then forced in there nice and tight. So that's the hose. There you go, Clarky. You said you wanted me to talk about hose. Get that away from me.
Where's the hose at?
So that is the hose. So what have we covered? Paint, the weird bumps, that, the tusks, 2-part, funny. So yeah, I think that covers most of it. So when we're looking at this, there was, I heard guys on Rogue 16 when they did a review, they were talking about it and talking about, did we do the hose because it was cheaper that way? And no, probably quite the opposite. Probably it would have been way cheaper to just buy that hose, bung it in there. Instead, we've had to go to the trouble of making this look right, moulding it, casting it. A lot more involved in making it. It's a bit trickier to install. Really, at every step of the process, this is more difficult than just using the hose off the shelf. But speaks for itself. Look at it. It's my opinion. I don't think there's anything on this that is done because it's cost effective. I mean, spraying that would have been faster, cheaper. Wouldn't have been right though. So, in fact, this is probably the one thing that did become cost effective. We looked at a load of places to supply us with packaging. We're trying to up our packaging game. Couldn't get anything that we liked. And in the end, we designed it here in-house. Packaging. Then when it came, that first wave that's gone out, that was all done. That was all done here. We made that packaging. Then it was time to reorder all the stuff. I was looking around, and I just happened to find this place that kind of does all that stuff custom. Bespoke packaging, if you like. So I got in touch with them, and we are now buying all the packaging in ready to go. So it comes, we load up our box, pack the helmet, and job's done. So the next wave, which I'm now just finishing off, as you can see, packing is due next week, so I'm guessing that this next wave is going to ship out next week. And there'll probably be waves of these going out every week now up until completion, because I've got everything. and that level of organisation has filtered through to the bee wings, which are also shipping next week. And it's also filtered through already to the cheese grater, where all the components are on order if we haven't already got them. And you may think, what do you need for that? But there are stuff, you know, these plaques, these are the screws, which, although are the same thread size as the original tea case, some of the screws are actually a bit bigger. They need to be a bit bigger, they don't fit. So we've had to start getting a bespoke size of screw that we've never had before. Everything else is, up to this point, is all standard TK kind of screw size. You know, even on the ears for these, which you don't see. These are paper, by the way, so just be careful with them. Well, I hope that clears up some of the points that have been raised, talked about, that I've seen online. It's good, it's great feedback. It's always good, because when you're that engrossed in a project like this, you make a decision about something and then you move on, and you don't consider that someone would think about that kind of aspect. So that's good feedback. And also all the feedback about the shipping as well has been good, because again, something like this, you don't know how it's going to ship, how the packaging is going to work, if you're going to achieve what you want to achieve, which is obviously getting there all in one piece. So all that information is good. It all gets taken on board, and it all gets thought about, considered, to see if there's anything we can do to make that better. So great feedback. That's where we're at with the AT-AT. So obviously I'm finishing a load of AT-AT helmets, or AT-AT, depending on what you call them. It's just always been an AT-AT to me, don't know why. But while that's going on, there is also an awful lot of movement on the bee wings. Gone on far too long this week already, so we'll talk about them probably next week. But another helmet I'm very excited and proud of. We've got some, very pleased with the way things have been. I'll be honest, we've been in this building now for about 4.5 years, and when we were in the old place, we'd just been doing the Y wing. It honestly felt like it was a golden age of what we were doing. It was, everything was all in place. And then with the upheaval of the moving and all of that, I don't want to bore you with all that story again, but we definitely kind of slipped away from that. Not in what we were doing, just in how it felt like, how we were doing it. To me anyway, I'm talking about me and my personal experience. The stuff that the team are putting out, I think, is absolutely top notch. I'm really, the AT-AT, the bee wing, really proud of what all of these guys are achieving. So I am excited to get those shipping, and I will be super excited for the feedback on those too. But yeah, I think that's it for this week. I've just got to finish these off. Need them done for Monday morning, today being Friday. So that gives me enough time for the next part of the wave that I am doing next week. Okay guys, thanks for watching, and come back next week. We'll definitely be talking bee wings, and then the week after, who knows. out now. And that's why I like it. Fluid.